My brother told me to lie about my job at Thanksgiving. My dad told me not to embarrass the family. Everyone laughed. But 10 minutes later, my voice, my anonymous podcast voice, started playing from my brother's girlfriend's phone. And suddenly, nobody laughed. This is the story of how my fake job became their worst embarrassment and my sweetest revenge. If you've ever had your dreams dismissed or been treated like the family disappointment, hit that subscribe button. Like the video, leave a comment, and get ready, because this revenge isn't loud or messy. It's calm, cold, and absolutely earned. Let's dive in. My name is Chloe, I'm 28, and according to my family, that means I should have a real job by now. A real job in their minds comes with a suit, a badge, a cubicle, and a boss my dad can brag about over dinner. I have none of that. What I do have is a small apartment, a microphone, and a laptop. I write and narrate stories, mostly family drama and revenge stories, for a channel called Midnight Mirror. And 3 million people listen. But my family? They don't know that. They've never cared enough to ask. To them, I mess around with a microphone like a kid banging pots and pans. And this Thanksgiving, they decided to turn that into sport. The moment my brother Ethan walked in, 31 years old, corporate sales rep, self-appointed golden child, I felt the air change. He brought his new girlfriend, Harper. Pretty, polite, professional. And for some reason, everyone kept glancing at me like I was the pre-dinner entertainment. Ethan bragged about his job for 40 minutes straight. Bonuses, clients, promotions, his leadership potential. My parents hung on every word. Then Harper turned to me and asked, smiling genuinely, "So, what do you do?" I opened my mouth. And my dad, Robert, cut me off. "Please don't embarrass us tonight." The table burst into laughter. My brother leaned back, smirking. "Maybe lie this time, so you don't sound so pathetic." My face burned. My pulse hammered in my ears. I felt 12 years old again, small, stupid, shrinking under their expectations. I smiled. I took a sip of wine. I said nothing. 10 minutes later, the universe intervened. Harper reached into her bag and pulled out her phone. "Oh, I want to show you guys this podcast," she said. "It's my favorite for long drives." She tapped a screen, hit play, and then my voice filled the living room. Calm, smooth. The voice millions of listeners recognized instantly. The voice my parents called a joke. Harper froze mid-smile. My parents stiffened. The laughter evaporated so fast it was like someone had torn the sound out of the room. Ethan stared at me like I'd shape-shifted at the table. I shrugged. "Sounds familiar," I said. And I watched the color drain from their faces. Hours later, when I finally walked into my apartment, the silence hit like a wave. My keys clattered onto the counter. My throat felt tight. My jaw ached from clenching. I replayed it in my head. My dad laughing, my brother calling me pathetic, my mom giggling along, and then Harper's face when she realized she'd basically played my theme song at the table. And for the first time in years, I felt something shift inside me. They didn't deserve access to my life, to my success, to my identity. But they were about to see exactly what they had been mocking. Not because I owed them the truth, but because the truth was about to become impossible to ignore. The days after Thanksgiving, I went quiet on purpose. No texts, no updates, no playing good daughter for people who treated me like a punchline. Instead, I threw myself into my work. My mornings start before sunrise in Portland. Cheap coffee. Notebook open. City half asleep. I outline stories from listeners all over the world. Siblings, betrayal, parents, minimizing dreams, families, weaponizing expectations, people carving out their worth alone. Their pain becomes structure. Their chaos becomes calm. Their stories become meaning. And mine is just beginning. One morning, an email appeared with a subject line that made me blink twice. Exclusive series proposal. Emberwave Audio. Emberwave. One of the biggest podcast networks in the world. The kind with billboards, subway ads, entire production teams. They wanted to partner with me. With Midnight Mirror. A 10-episode series. Creative control. A payout bigger than my dad's yearly salary. The theme? family expectations, and being the disappointment. I nearly laughed. Thanksgiving had practically written the series for me. The next day, I met with the Emberwave team on Zoom. Camera off, avatar on, my usual anonymous setup. They were excited, complimentary, respectful. They talked about how my storytelling connected with people, how the recent Thanksgiving-themed episode had exploded. They wanted to call the new series Family Lines. Perfect. Then my phone buzzed. Another email from a brand strategist named Harper James, my brother's girlfriend. She wanted to hire Midnight Mirror for a massive New Year's campaign on self-worth. She had listened to my stories. She admired my voice. She wanted to collaborate. She had absolutely no idea the person she emailed was the same one her boyfriend mocked at dinner. My stomach flipped. Revenge wasn't something I had to plan. It was already unfolding. A week later, I joined the marketing call. My camera stayed off. My voice stayed calm. Harper's video tile popped up. She had no idea. She talked about toxic family dynamics, shedding shame, finding your voice, respecting others' paths. Hearing her speak, I realized something. She felt things at that Thanksgiving dinner. She saw my family's cruelty. She felt my humiliation. Then she mentioned one episode specifically, the Thanksgiving one I'd posted. She said it made her stomach hurt. I almost said, mine too. Instead, I kept my voice steady. We finalized the contract. The collaboration moved forward. And my world kept expanding while my family's version of me kept shrinking. December rolled on. Family Lines soared up the charts. The campaign videos came together beautifully with my narration. Then my mom texted, Christmas Eve dinner. Ethan and Harper would be there. A part of me wanted to stay home. The other part wanted to walk in with the full weight of my truth behind me. So I went. The house was the same. Holiday candles, cinnamon hem, old Christmas movies. But I wasn't the same. Ethan immediately slipped into brag mode. My parents beamed. They finally turned to me. So, my dad said, chuckling, still playing radio up in Portland? Before I could answer, Harper set her fork down. Calm. Deliberate. Sharp. Actually, she said, I've been meaning to thank you, Chloe. The room stilled. My mom blinked. Ethan's smile faltered. Harper reached for the remote. And with a few clicks, the TV switched from some generic movie to the Emberwave homepage. Front and center. Family Lines, a Midnight Mirror exclusive featuring the voice everyone's talking about. She hit play. My voice filled the room. This time, there was no pretending. No denying. No laughing. Just silence. And their faces turning the color of cold milk. Harper turned to Ethan. You never told me your sister reaches millions of people. Ethan stammered. My parents stared at the TV like it was speaking in tongues. I took a slow breath. My channel paid my taxes this year, I said softly. It paid off my student loans. It's paying for a future house. It's worth more than any of you ever imagined. No yelling. No anger. Just truth. Cold. Measured. Undeniable. The rest of dinner was awkward enough to taste. Harper barely touched her food. Ethan kept trying to joke. Nobody laughed. Later, on the porch, Harper apologized. She told me she couldn't date someone who mocked people's careers, especially when her own job centered around empowering women. She broke up with him right there. Quietly. Firmly. With a dignity my family had never shown me. Ethan tried blaming family jokes and upbringing. She didn't budge. A few weeks later, I heard his company didn't move forward with the partnership he bragged about pursuing. Rumor was, leadership wanted teams who embodied the company's values, not undermine them. Ethan kept his job, lost the promotion, lost the girlfriend, lost the halo my parents had built around him. And I didn't lift a finger. Life just aligned things the way they were always meant to be. Eventually, my parents emailed. My mom said Family Lines was hard to listen to because she recognized herself. She apologized for calling my work a phase, for laughing, for dismissing me. My dad added a paragraph saying he was proud I built something on my own. He didn't say sorry, but he didn't need to. I no longer needed their approval. I had built something real. Without them, despite them. The funny thing about revenge is this. When people mock you, they assume they're punching down. But sometimes, they're punching someone who's quietly building an empire. My revenge wasn't destroying my brother. It wasn't making my parents embarrassed. It was freeing myself and letting reality speak louder than I ever needed to. If your family has ever told you to lie about your dreams or get a real job, hear this. Their inability to see your value does not erase your value.
Keep building.
Keep going. They will catch up eventually or fall behind. Either way,
Your story is yours now.
if you found this story satisfying, hit that like button. Subscribe for more justice, more revenge, and more stories where the underdog finally gets the recognition they deserve. And tell me in the comments, has anyone ever underestimated your dreams? What did you do next? Thanks for listening, and remember, revenge doesn't always roar. Sometimes, it whispers.